it was a simpler time. Twerking became a thing. Robin Thicke was busy ripping off Marvin Gaye, and we were introduced to the Harlem Shake. In the NBA, we were in the midst of the Heatles run, and it was being severely threatened by the beautiful game of the San Antonio Spurs. In the wake of the backlash that was the decision, it was LeBron's legacy on the line after all the bold predictions and pre-title celebrations raised expectations to impossible heights. The Spurs were about to send that legacy careening off a cliff with only one title to show for all the Heat's free agency efforts. Danny Green had destroyed them from deep in 3 games and had the improbable inside track for Finals MVP. Which brings us to Game 6, with its colorful cast of characters, strategic storylines and matchups, and what started out as a missed shot attempt turned into the most scrutinized event to ever happen in an NBA Finals game. Don't forget, in 2013, Kawhi Leonard wasn't the perennial MVP candidate yet. He just finished his second year in the league and didn't even average 12 points a game. But he hurt the Heat by making plays on both ends of the court, starting with this steal and then in the open court doing something eye-opening, making LeBron look helpless as he stepped through for the layup and won. The Claw stepped into this errant pass to force a steal, and in the ensuing foot race, he slows the last step to let Ray Allen fly by to get another and one. He announced his presence with authority on another fast break when he catches LeBron not hustling back and then covers Mike Miller's eyes so he wouldn't have to witness the murder taking place at the rim. But it was old man Tim Duncan who stepped into a time machine to have one of his all-time best halves ever. And it was part of the chess match between Eric Spoelstra and Greg Popovich, as the Spurs exploited a weakness in the Heat's pick-and-roll defense. You see, Pop knew that the Heat almost always doubled the ball in the pick and roll, and so they lured the double team over and over again to hit Duncan on the short roll for easy shots when the defense couldn't rotate over in time. Even when it wasn't a hard double, you can see Chris Bosh hedge and then just stay there. With proper spacing and Chalmers jumping out to the apparent Parker jump shot, it's a free cut to the rim and an easy layup for TD. The Heat would continually get way out of position while trying to defend the pick and roll. The first one didn't hurt them even though Kawhi got wide open fading to the corner. But then Duncan comes up to screen, Bosh and Chalmers hover to the ball, forcing Mike Miller to bump down to try and stop Duncan, leaving an easy skip pass to the corner for a wide open three-pointer for Kawhi. And they even use Kawhi to exploit their poor defensive principles. Notice how the Spurs keep the strong side corner empty, so there's no help to rotate down, and Mike Miller has no hope of hedging and then recovering in time to stop the Kawhi layup, forcing Bosh to rotate and directly leading to this Duncan tip. Once they loosened up the defense with some ball screens, the Spurs went to work on the block, and it might seem strange to see so many isolation post-ups, especially with the distinct lack of a double team. Duncan feasted with a variety of hook shots and turnarounds, and it allowed the Spurs to take a narrow 6-point lead into halftime. On the flip side, the Spurs were able to coax a 3-for-9 shooting half out of LeBron by doing what is commonly known now as the Simmons sag, daring him to shoot from the outside as Duncan backs up to keep him out of the paint at all costs. And it took them a few games, but they realized that Boris Diaw had the heft to defend him in the post, yet still give him a few feet of cushion, and when LeBron couldn't get right to the rim, he struggled with the awkward footwork and off-balance shot. The offense sputtered to a halt as LeBron appears unsure what to do against this type of sag, and Diaw is more than happy to allow him to keep shooting anything outside the lane. They gave a similar cushion to Dwayne Wade to keep him out of the lane, then going so far as to help one pass away off LeBron to lure him into another shot they were more than happy to give him despite his high percentage on threes. With this type of sag, they were very effective in stopping both Wade and James, as they do here in the same possession, and LeBron simply could not get in rhythm, this time hanging in the air before releasing into a brick. The saving grace for the Heat in the first half was Mario Chalmers. LeBron was able to use his immense gravity to collapse 3 players to him, and an easy hop into a corner shot got him going. The Heat had this weird tick in their offense where a player would make a pass and then they'd immediately pass it right back. I dig the ball screen out of the mid-post, and Parker gets caught way out of position as Chalmers sneaks back door for the floater. Here's another thing the Heat offense did a lot. 5 out, no low post position, but it tended to get rather stagnant, as it was a my turn, now it's your turn, now it's my turn type of attack. With no weak side action or screening, it was easy for the defense to load up and take away driving angles, but when Gary Neal needed to cover for Manu on the Ray Allen cut, it finally opened up an attack of a closeout into a little pull-up jumper. And with this double drag screen at the free throw line for LeBron, it bunched up 4 players inside the lane, and it was an easy find for another wide-open Chalmers 3. The James-Chalmers pairing confounded the Spurs defense as they continued to help one pass away off of Chalmers, giving him this practice shot in front of their own bench. And in the fourth, Manu gets caught way out of position. Splitter didn't need the help here, and the on-time and on-target pass lets Chalmers lick his thumb and check the wind before letting this one fly. It was here in the fourth when LeBron finally came alive, hitting 6 of his first 7 shots. With Duncan on the bench, he targets Thiago Splitter in the pick and roll and hits him with a nice in-and-out dribble before stepping by for the finger roll. Things got weird as Mike Miller loses his shoe trying to help on the Splitter lefty toss. I don't blame his man Neal for helping way off him, since what could Miller possibly do without a shoe, right? Right? We get a whole new meaning to no shoes, no shirt, no service. Struggling to score, the Heat turned to Chalmers to create something with LeBron setting him the ball screen. When Kawhi stepped over too far to shadow Mario, the nice pocket pass gets them a smosh. Then LeBron takes a page out of the Tim Duncan playbook, isolating on Kawhi for a nifty lefty finish to cut the lead to 3. Midway through the fourth, LeBron summons all his powers on this play. First, he rotates down to just erase the point-blank shot by Tim Duncan, saving a surefire 2 points, then comes back down and hits him with a great fake handoff before giving us the dribble, gather, jump stop, pivot, step through, off 1 foot, perfectly legal layup. Diaw again tries to give LeBron a cushion even in the post. Duncan freezes despite being a step away, and James sweeps in for the layup. The game turned into a complete grind for both teams, barely any scoring, until we get to the final 2 minutes. Notice how LeBron is on Tony Parker, a defensive alignment they saved for end of games that tended to shut down the other team. They can't get anything going as LeBron refuses to be screened, and the shot clock becomes an extra defender. But this is where you started to think the basketball gods were on the Spurs side. Parker hits James with an improbable step back from a foot behind the line, and Cole buries it to tie the game. The Heat spread the floor and try to get something with Chalmers setting the ball screen. Look how low Kawhi goes to get underneath the screen to contain, stopping the offense in its tracks. Nice jab step to get baseline by Wade. Parker gets lost for a beat as Chalmers gets into the lane, but an incredible recovery to predict where the pass was going and steal it out of the air. Wow. All series long, the Spurs had targeted Chalmers with Parker. Check the gorgeous spin back to the middle to hit a tough, twisting jumper and give the Spurs the lead back. This had to have felt like the end of the series for the Heat fans, as LeBron almost fumbles the ball into a turnover, then forces a switch to get Tony Parker on him. Kawhi gambles from behind as LeBron tries to back Parker down from a weird angle, and then LeBron just loses the ball. It's an interesting question as to whether the Spurs should have pushed the ball here instead of pulling it out and taking more time off the clock. But hey, they generated a layup and forced them to foul the career 83% free throw shooter. There was simply no other way to look at this than a surefire win for the Spurs when LeBron again gets bottled up by the sagging defense and throws it away. LeBron appears upset at Bosh, but there is no way he'd ever have gotten that pass. Manu just misses the first free throw, and there's a sliver of hope, but you can see the Spurs are ready to hoist the trophy, and Spoelstra is somehow trying to draw up a 5-point play. But then a curious thing happened. Tim Duncan comes out on the floor after the timeout, but as soon as Popovich saw how small the Heat went, he takes Duncan out for Diaw. And the Spurs royally screw up this entire defensive possession. Wade flare screens for Chalmers, then gets a back screen from Ray Allen. No one calls this out. Danny Green gets erased, and look where Manu goes. Because Kawhi had to pick up Wade in front of the basket, his man LeBron James is wide open for a 3. Now, this shot is so off that it slams off the backboard. Because of this, however, the Spurs can't corral the ricochet. Nobody runs to LeBron, who gets another shot at it, and this time he hits the clutch shot to cut it to 2. The Heat instantly fouled to stop the clock, and it's Kawhi's turn to choke an in-and-out free throw, setting us up for something truly remarkable. With Bosh in the game, Popovich still opted to keep Duncan out, and this is a decision that will haunt the Spurs forever. The Heat come right down with no timeouts left and run a nice set. Watch LeBron set the screen, flare off the Bosh screen, and then snap back to the ball in the left wing. The thing to notice is that Bosh gets the free run to the rim when Diaw and Parker contest. The miss goes right to him. Manu can't stay on his feet. Somehow Ray Allen is able to back up and catch the ball and get his feet set without stepping out of bounds. Oh, and then hits the shot to tie it up. Here's where it got all sorts of problematic. The Spurs deserved a chance to quickly inbound and see what they could create before the defense could set up. Instead, they went to a recent rule that allowed the refs to review if the shot was a three-pointer or not, but it served to give an unfair timeout to the defense. Popovich was livid, but powerless to do anything about it. The thing is, it was so completely clear he was behind the line, there simply was no need to review this. There wasn't much they could do. Parker tosses up the prayer, and we got overtime. Parker drives and gets the mismatch with Bosh on him, and although Bosh is one of the premier big men defenders out in the perimeter, Parker doesn't challenge and burps up this bad 20-footer. Poor communication in transition, and Manu doesn't realize he's got to stay with Bosh until Duncan can recover. To make matters worse, he fouls him, but Bosh misses the free throw. Dwayne Wade gets caught trying to throw a pass to a cutting James. It's behind him, and Parker gets a free run to the hoop before being taken down by Allen. Yet another missed free throw by the Spurs costs them dearly, and Popovich must want to kill somebody right about now. Ray Allen runs off a double staggered screen, and Parker didn't recognize early enough that he needed to switch and be a step closer to the ball. Good recovery, but Allen hits a tough floater with touch. With a chance to take control of this game with a minute left and a 1-point lead, LeBron tries to attack Ginobili but can't get past him. He gets away with a clear out with the left arm, then tosses up a runner that doesn't go down. Manu had been hurting the Spurs all night long with his play, and on this pistol action from the sideline out of bounds, he hurdles himself to the rim looking for the hammer pass to the corner. Well defended, and he's forced to throw it away, but in transition, with a chance to end this game a little early, check Danny Green's incredible effort to not only cleanly strip this ball, it ends up being touched by LeBron last, getting another key possession back for the Spurs. Wow! Down by 1 with a little window for a 2-for-1 opportunity, the Spurs try to get LeBron off Parker to give him some space. But screening with Bosh's man when both Chalmers and Ray Allen were on the floor makes zero sense. Again, Bosh demonstrates how great he was defensively by blocking the step-back jumper. The Heat forced a switch and let Wade go at Diaw. Not a very good shot, except that they did run the clock down. And here's another one of those plays that Spurs fans might still regret. Not calling a timeout here is pretty daring, but it also prevents the defense from setting up. That said, at this point, the defense was in position. Call timeout and run a good out-of-bounds play. Instead, Manu tries to make something happen, and he ends up traveling first before any potential foul could have been called, and there certainly was contact across his right forearm. But the chance was lost when no whistle was blown, Ray Allen gets fouled, and the Spurs have one last chance to create some magic. So you might be wondering down 3 why they trot out a lineup with both Tim Duncan and Thiago Splitter. I guess they feel Duncan is their best passer and there wouldn't be enough time to go back to him for a shot, but they didn't have faith in another shooter that could set a screen? They run a nice action to curl Green off the screen only to flip it for a flare, but Duncan is late throwing it and off target with the pass. Bosh again blocks the shot, and in one of the most miraculous results to a finals game, take Game 6, demoralizing the Spurs at the same time, and then go on to win in Game 7. So many questions arise from so many interesting decisions, and there's no question the way LeBron played in this game, despite his 32 points and 11 assists, that he has to be forever indebted to Ray Allen for saving this game and keeping the series alive for another day. For had LeBron only walked away with one title from his stint with Miami, including a loss to an unheralded Mavericks team in 2011, who knows how any of this turns out for him and his position in the Pantheon of the all-time great players to ever play the game. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to B-Ball Breakdown so you can get alerted right away when we drop a new video. This season will be filled with incredible content, so don't miss it. You in?